Okay, BookTube, I'm going to try something a little bit different with this particular video. I have compiled, and I have it right here on my phone, I have compiled a list of books that are outside of my normal reading comfort zone that I'm considering buying because I want to see if I can stretch my reading interest a little bit outside of where it normally goes. So I'm going to go over some of these books, and you can tell me what you think in the comment section below if you've read some of these books and what you think, or maybe you have other suggestions either by these authors that I list or something outside of this list, outside of the authors, or maybe even a different genre than where I'm going with some of these books. So with that said, this will be a quick video. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Book number 1 on the list is, and this is actually on Book of the Month, and that is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And this is a book that I actually thought about getting for Book of the Month. I think it was maybe an August selection maybe. And I actually thought really hard about it and almost picked it up but decided not to. But it's been in the back of my head for a while now, so I'm thinking about maybe picking that up. Again, a little bit outside of what I normally read, but it does sound really interesting. And now as we're going into the month of October, or by the time you see this video, we may be in the month of October, or you may be out of the month of October. But that gives me a little bit more urge to consider it, I think. We'll see. Next up is a book that I tell you what, I think every booktuber on YouTube has talked about this particular book, and that is House of Earth and Blood from the Crescent City series, or maybe soon to be series, by Sarah J. Maas. Everybody talks about this book, and apparently it's a pretty large book too. So I've been really thinking about this one because I've read the description several times, and I keep thinking about it. I'm so close to pulling the trigger on this one and at least giving it a try because it does sound interesting. And again, even though it's outside my comfort zone, it sounds pretty interesting, and there are elements of it that I think that are in my comfort zone. So I might actually pick this one up. Next is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And this was one that sounded really interesting to me too. It just, even though it's a little bit outside my comfort zone, it's kind of in it a little bit, almost sort of like House of Earth and Blood. So I'm actually really thinking pretty strongly about this one. So again, if you've read this one, let me know, because I saw it pop up, and actually kind of popped up as a suggestion, which I thought was kind of interesting for me. From there, Delirium by Lauren Oliver. And Lauren Oliver is an author I've seen before, and I've had some other books pop up that made me think a little bit more about this author and this particular book. So I'm really kind of interested in this book, and I think it's one that I may really strongly think about. It's maybe not at the top of this list for me, but it's up there. Staying with Lauren Oliver is Vanishing Girls. And I will say, just to be fair, this one is actually in my comfort zone, even if I am not as familiar with the author. But again, that doesn't necessarily stop you from buying a book if it's in your comfort zone for reading. But this one is definitely more in my comfort zone than Delirium. So I may pick this one up. This one maybe doesn't quite belong on this list, but it's there anyway. Lastly is a little bit of a classic. Well, it's a lot of bit of a classic, and that is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. That's a classic, and I said earlier on a video that I want to read more classics each month, and so I'm thinking that this might be one classic that I want to pick up. I'm almost sure I'm going to pick this one up. I'm going to look on Kindle Unlimited because it might be available either for free or for maybe for a very low price. Sometimes older books are like that. You can pick them up for pretty much nothing, and I read books really fast on Kindle, and actually tend to retain a little bit better now than maybe I used to on Kindle. So I'm actually a little bit more comfortable reading Kindle books now than I was maybe some time ago. So those are the books that I'm thinking about reading that are outside my comfort zone. I didn't actually pick 10, but I picked the ones that I picked. So those are ones that really jumped out at me that I'm really thinking about reading. So let me know what you think if you've read any of those books. Maybe you can make a recommendation of which of those books would be best for me to read. If you've watched enough of my videos, maybe you get a little bit of a feel for what kind of stuff I would be interested in. So I'd love to hear your opinion, but I'm definitely going to pick up one, maybe more of these books. Who knows? I might... once I lift the buying moratorium, I might buy more than, one or two of those books, because I have been pretty productive. I had a really productive reading month in September, knocked out a lot of books, and so I'm tempted a little bit more so to lift the buying ban to pick up some new books and add to the collection.